I already knew that all these Hindu teachers are fully. All the kids are going to church. What could possibly be happening that's leading young people to go to church? What could it be now? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's all the Muslims they're bringing into Europe, and the young people are saying, you know what? It might be time for another crusade.
It's serious. Now we're witnessing an invasion. They are not refugees. No, this is an invasion of mass Islamization of Europe, which already went on for at minimum 50, 60 years, Islamization in Europe. But now it is in mass. It is very evident. And so this is a global political agenda by the powerful of the world to destroy Europe.
There you go. I mean, here's a bishop who speaks the truth. Probably not going to get elected pope. Not just Easter, but Gen Z is returning to Christianity. Now, here's something I found pretty interesting. It's mostly the men. And you can't really blame them because they no longer even have access to housing. The UK housing office is paying for 16,000 homes for asylum seekers despite the housing shortage. What does that mean? Oh, their own citizens cannot get homes, but the UK government has made sure to set aside enough money to pay for 16,000 homes. And let's take a look at who these migrants are. Oh, would you look at that? They look like a couple of Muslims. Could this be the reason that the young are returning to church? I do think so. Take a look at these guys, right? Do these look like people who are escaping war? I don't think so. This guy's dressing up like a Muslim woman with this blanket. I can clearly see that's a man, okay? And then, of course, Woke UK sends a nice female cop here to handle that. I'm sure that these Muslims are really intimidated by this. It's not like they stone women in their country every day. Gen Z teens are more interested in learning more about Jesus, with younger cohorts leading the way in the growth of the new commitment. We found that the church is in a period of rapid growth driven by young adults and in particular, young men. Women will like to say, oh, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious, right? This is totally okay. This is totally accepted by the machine. Nobody gets threatened by you being spiritual, but not religious, because there's no potency in that. That's the truth. Because what that means is I'm going to make up my own rules about how I want to live and what God wants out of me. And if something makes me uncomfortable, like, looking at my own shortcomings, I'm just going to excuse that as we're here on earth to learn and we're evolving, which is all the new age bullshit, right? Okay. And now, of course, I have to throw this in here. The church demonstrates greater ethnic diversity than ever before. Okay, we've had enough with diversity, honestly. This happened in Lourdes. Lourdes is a very important religious site in France. They say there's a lot of healing miracles that happen there. And they had about 13,500 high school students who gathered there for the week of Holy Week. I think that these kids are seeing what's going on and they're done. If you grew up with your boomer parents, you probably celebrated a very secular Christmas. Easter was probably about chocolate bunnies and painted eggs. And there just wasn't this deeper meaning. Okay, I know when I did get older, I absolutely started looking into different faiths because I felt like something was missing. And I went through all of the different things, right? I went through Hinduism, I went through Buddhism, I went through the New Age. I never checked out Judaism. They don't really let you just check out Judaism. You know what I mean? It's not really like an open invitation, but I don't really think I missed out on anything. And none of them really stuck. I went and looked at all those Hindu gurus. Hindu gurus, by the way, are the biggest frauds out there. And they were being brought over to the West post-World War II, like the 60s, saw this influx of these Hindu gurus. And they were so exotic. Their whole way of being was so exotic. And they knew how to say really nice words that sounded super intelligent. And they grabbed people. But they were full of shit. If you go look at every single one of those Hindu gurus, ended up having some kind of sex cult scandal. They ended up being total frauds, and it was all a huge money-making thing. The most recent one is this guy, Sadhguru, who my mom got really into, and this was the time I was converting to Christianity, and I was learning that Hinduism was basically worship of demons, and I didn't want her to go through it. So she's, showing me this guy's videos. And I gotta say, Sadhguru, I'll look him up real quick. He was pretty convincing. Look at him. He's like, oh, I'm so spiritual. Look at me. I don't use a toilet because Why would I?
People ask me, Sadhguru, how do you operate with all these people? All kinds of horrible questions they're asking, they're doing this, they're doing that. I said, my life is not about them, it's about me. It's about how I am. It's about me. It doesn't matter how they are, that's their choice. But how I am is my choice. This is my way. No matter what they do, I'm like this. Because I have not given that freedom to anybody, that somebody can freak me, somebody can make me angry, somebody can make me happy, somebody can make me unhappy. These privileges I kept to myself. It's time you do that too. Because if somebody else can decide what can happen within you right now, isn't this the ultimate slavery? People are…
All right. Sounds really good, right? Sounds like wisdom. Have control of your emotions. Don't give that away to other people. Now, here's a little backstory that you may not know about Sadhguru. Sadhguru is accused of killing his first wife because he was having an affair with one of his yoga students, and she didn't want to let him get married to her. So he killed her and then married his young yoga student. Now you're like, Leonarda, how do you know this? Okay, because when my mother was getting into Sadhguru, I already knew that all these Hindu teachers are full of shit, and they come over the West. Look at his little costume. He's growing his beard. He's got this turban thing on his head. He's dressed in this way that all of it is a character to evoke the sense that you're in the presence of a wise master. Oh, wise master, how did you contain your anger when your wife got in the way of your affair? Oh, you killed her. And then what happened? Well, this is how we know, right? By the way, India is totally corrupt. This happened in India, okay? He called his father-in-law, his wife's father, and told him, oh, your daughter passed away from something. And he said she had a fever or something. And the father was suspicious. So he said, okay, I'm coming tomorrow. Do not cremate the body. I want a full investigation. He called the police. He wanted a full investigation. Well, the police showed up at Sadhguru's house. And magically they decided, oh no, don't worry. This was just a natural death. And her body was cremated that day. And when the father showed up, he said, hey, I thought you said, we are not going to cremate the body. And Sadhguru didn't really have a response. And then immediately afterward, he married his little yoga student and moved to America, where he started his campaign of preaching a bunch of Hindu slop bullshit. So, and you can go look at them. Osho's the other one, right? Osho's the famous one who was like, oh, the people have to vote, but the people are retarded. Well, he had a sex scandal. So what I gotta say is, stop listening to these Disney characters who show up in these costumes and hypnotize you and make you think that they're really something special. And people are all, look, we are searching for this because I think as human beings, we need purpose and meaning. But I believe that we have been given a truth. And I do believe that that is Christianity. Now, I'm not like 100% fully, like I'm in my process of becoming a Christian, even though I formally converted and got baptized. But I do have questions, which God in the Bible does not say that you shouldn't have questions or you shouldn't use your brain. But when I contrast little Sadhguru's message here, which is my life is about me, versus Christ's message, which is I came to call my people and grant them salvation, one of those is clearly superior to the others. Love really is about sacrifice. There it is. If you guys look right here, I didn't make up this story. Let me see if I can move myself here. He's definitely a fake. Why couldn't he wait for her parents to arrive for cremation? Definitely was wanting to hide something. Okay. There are many similar cases of gurus who finally went to jail. Here are two that they name. You can go check them out. And they're saying he's eventually going to have to pay for this stuff, right? Here we go. Sadhguru murdered his wife and got away with murder. Oh, now I remember how she died. Thank you for this. He said that she had achieved the level of karmic accomplishment in yoga that she decided to leave her body. This is why you got to know that all of India is retarded, right? They have this idea that you can get to such a level of enlightenment that you choose to leave this life. And this is what he said his wife did. Now you tell me if that story would work here in America. Oh, my wife finally attained enlightenment. She decided to leave her body. Okay, full of shit. And as somebody points out here, she was a young mother and would not have left her girl child. She was young and not experienced enough to perform meditation unto death. Also, can we just say, if the ultimate goal of meditation is to lead to your death, like maybe we don't want to do that, right? Maybe this is a demonic practice. So I say all this to say, hey, you contrast this with what Christianity tells you and what Christ tells you, and there's a clear distinction. And to me, this would be the reason that people are returning to Christianity. If you guys want to see the full video, please be sure to check me out on censored.tv. Don't forget to sign up for my mailing list. I send out weekly emails with updates on what's going on in my life, new tour dates, funny stories. So if you're into that and you want to stay in touch, especially if I accidentally get banned, which happens regularly for me, go ahead and sign up for that. It's right on my website.